There is absolutely zero doubt in my mind. Rachel Meghan Markle was a semi-expensive yacht girl, and she knows it.
Many of you have seen this picture already. You see that there's Meghan with her Cayuna.
Meghan is absolutely furious, and this time it's not about royal titles, it's because Fergie decided to break the internet today. She exposed Meghan's yacht days with Prince Andrew in a way that we've never heard before. What started as a passing whisper from Sarah Ferguson,
she was a yacht girl, that's right, it's mentioned in the book. Meghan used to entertain as a yacht,
has now turned into a full-scale royal meltdown. Because this wasn't a rumor planted by tabloids or anonymous online accounts, this came from inside the royal circle. And when accusations come from inside the house, they are almost impossible to bury. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, didn't just hint at Meghan's past. She allegedly connected Meghan's early high society networking to the same yacht scene Andrew was associated with, long before the world ever saw Meghan in a royal tiara. That one implication changed everything. Suddenly, Meghan's carefully polished public narrative cracked, and what spilled out has the palace scrambling, Meghan raging, and Harry stunned into silence. There is so much to unpack here: how this rumor started, why Fergie is choosing this moment to speak, what this means for Meghan's image, and the real reason this story has the firm panicking more than any Netflix documentary ever did. But before we dive in, if you're here watching with us today, we'd like to ask for something personal. We are working to reach 1,000 subscribers so our channel can grow, improve equipment, and keep bringing you the truth behind these royal stories. If you've been watching and enjoying our content, please take just a second to subscribe. It genuinely helps keep this channel alive. Now let's get into it. Before this story took on royal weight, the yacht scene was just another exclusive social circuit, a world where wealthy hosts, minor aristocrats, entertainment figures, and ambitious social climbers crossed paths. These weren't party boats, they were networking arenas disguised as glamour. Deals were made, introductions were arranged, and futures were shaped behind polished smiles and champagne glasses. Prince Andrew was known to orbit this environment frequently in those days, not because he was looking for love or friendship, but because those circles allowed the monarchy to mingle without responsibility. And Sarah Ferguson, being tied to him for decades both publicly and privately, knew exactly who came and went from those decks. Meghan wasn't a star yet. She was working, visible, rising, but still searching for the room that would finally see her.
Was introduced by Sarah Ferguson to Prince Harry.
In those spaces, one introduction could change the direction of someone's life.
He said Miss Markle was a close companion to Prince Andrew.
That context is what makes Fergie's comment sting. If Meghan's path into royal proximity began long before Harry, then the fairy tale narrative, the blind date, the instant connection, the love against the world, suddenly looks less like destiny and more like positioning. And that is the one accusation Meghan has always been deeply afraid of. Because once the public thinks something was calculated, it stops feeling romantic. Fergie didn't slip that comment by mistake. She has spent decades inside a system where timing is everything and nothing is said publicly unless there is a reason. So when she pointed toward Meghan's past now, it signaled that something inside the royal dynamic has shifted, and Fergie is positioning herself accordingly. Sarah Ferguson has survived scandals, divorces, financial crises, public humiliation, and tabloid wars. She has watched what happens when the public turns, when the palace steps back, and when allies disappear overnight. For someone who has been burned as deeply as she has, self-preservation becomes instinct, not strategy. And right now, with the royal family tightening its inner circle and distancing itself from external chaos, Fergie knows exactly where she stands, and where Meghan doesn't. If the firm is slowly preparing to reduce Meghan's influence, it benefits Fergie to be seen on the right side of that shift. It's not personal, it's survival. There's also the Meghan factor. Meghan and Fergie were never close. Their energies didn't match. Meghan is tightly curated, image-driven, future-focused. Fergie is messy, emotional, dangerous because she talks. Fergie knows Meghan sees her as unpredictable, and Meghan has no control over her. So, when Fergie finally spoke, the message was clear. I know where you came from, and you don't get to erase that. And that is the one thing Meghan cannot stand. No matter how carefully this story is handled, Prince Andrew's name changes the temperature in the room. His history, his associations, and his scandals make any connection to him feel radioactive. That's why the idea of Meghan's early social introductions, overlapping with Andrew's social world, is causing such a stir. It isn't just about where she was, it's about who else was there. Andrew's yacht era has been whispered about for years. Those gatherings were not just social events, they were screening grounds, places where ambitious personalities crossed paths with power brokers. Some were wealthy families, some were PR gatekeepers, some were international financiers, and some were people the monarchy would rather never speak about again. Fergie was present for all of it, not always physically, but relationally. She shared a home, a life, and decades of intertwined reputation with Andrew. She knows the names, she knows the behaviors, she knows the patterns. So when she draws a line between Meghan's early social climb and Andrew's old circles, people listen because she might actually know what she's talking about. For Meghan, that's the nightmare. Not because the rumors suggest something illegal, but because it suggests opportunity met ambition long before Harry ever came into the picture.
And she never stopped, really. I don't think any of her boyfriends do about it, but Meghan Markle was known as a hardcore yacht partying person, ready for anything.
It challenges the fairy tale. It reframes the origin story. It turns love into strategy. And once the public starts rethinking the beginning of a story, the whole story begins to change. Meghan's frustration isn't about the story itself, it's about the implication. She has spent years shaping her narrative, the self-made woman, the humanitarian, the actress who married for love, not advantage. So when Fergie's comments suggest the possibility of strategy instead of destiny, it strikes at the very foundation of her public identity. The timing makes it worse. Meghan has been fighting to maintain control of her image through interviews, documentaries, memoir tone, and carefully curated public appearances. She has worked to present herself as independent from the monarchy while still benefiting from the prestige of having been part of it. Fergie's implication threatens that balance. What Meghan cannot allow is the public believing she sought royal proximity before the love story began. Because once the public thinks something was premeditated, it stops being romantic and starts being transactional. And Meghan knows how quickly opinion can turn when audiences feel misled. Reports say she is livid behind closed doors, not because the story is new, but because it came from someone who has history and credibility inside the royal system. Meghan can dismiss tabloids as gossip. She can dismiss the British press as biased. She cannot dismiss Fergie, a woman who lived the rise, the scandal, the fall, the return, and the silence. And that is why this moment has shaken her. This isn't just a rumor resurfacing. This is someone who knows how the palace works, hinting that Meghan's role in this story began earlier and differently than she wants the world to believe. Fergie has never spoken by accident. When she decides to reveal something or even hint at it, it's because the political weather inside the royal family has shifted. And right now, the firm is quietly choosing who stays within the inner circle and who stays outside of it. Meghan is not inside. Fergie is making sure she is. With King Charles in declining health and Prince William stepping further into silent authority, royal alliances matter more than ever. Everyone who has a connection to the monarchy is redefining their position, some to stay protected, others to stay relevant. Fergie has been both outsider and insider, disgraced and welcomed back. She understands how quickly access can disappear. By placing Meghan's past into public conversation, Fergie is distancing herself from the Sussexes with unmistakable clarity. She's signaling, I am aligned with the crown, not with them. And in royal culture, a signal is often more powerful than a statement. It also doesn't hurt that Meghan and Fergie never formed a relationship. Meghan skipped the usual bonding rituals, the shared introductions, the acknowledgement of those who came before her.
Not warm,
to Fergie, someone who was torn apart by the press and rebuilt herself, Meghan's refusal to play that internal social game looked like arrogance. So now Fergie is doing what the aristocracy has done for centuries. She's reminding the room who was here first. And Meghan can't say a word without making it worse. Harry is the one who feels this pressure most directly. He has always tried to protect Meghan from the harsher parts of the royal world, believing he could stand between her and the institution that shaped him. But this situation doesn't come from the press, or the palace, or anonymous sources. It comes from someone who lived the same royal machinery he walked away from. Harry can't dismiss Fergie without dismissing decades of royal history. He can't defend Meghan without drawing more attention to the accusation, and he can't confront Fergie without appearing emotional and reactive, which only strengthens the narrative that Meghan is insecure about her past. Every move he could make backfires before it begins. This is the exact trap Meghan has always feared, a situation where she cannot control the storyline, where silence looks guilty, where denial looks rehearsed, and where speaking looks defensive. Meanwhile, Harry is realizing something he has been trying not to accept. The royal family is not trying to win him back. They are preparing to move forward without him. And stories like this don't happen by accident. They happen when people inside the palace want to remind him, "You left, and the dynasty is continuing without you." The most dangerous part of this story isn't the accusation itself, it's how the public is responding to it. For years, the conversation around Meghan has been polarized, either fiercely supportive or sharply critical. But this time, something is different. People aren't reacting with outrage or defense, they're reacting with recognition. The narrative doesn't feel new, it feels like a missing piece sliding into place. The idea that Meghan's rise involves strategic social positioning aligns with patterns people already observed: the curated image, the brand control, the emphasis on status language. This story doesn't challenge Meghan's public persona, it clarifies it, and that is why it is sticking. Social media conversations have shifted tone. The voice isn't "how dare she" or "leave her alone," it's quieter, more analytical, more certain. When a rumor moves from emotional reaction to logical acceptance, it becomes very difficult to undo. And Meghan knows this. She has always understood that perception is currency. Once the public believes they've figured out the real story, there's no rebranding strong enough to reverse it. This is why Meghan is furious, not because the story is loud, but because it makes sense to people now. When Meghan and Harry spoke in interviews, the public knew they were telling their version of events. When they released the Netflix series, people understood it was a crafted narrative. And when Harry published his memoir, everyone recognized it as a personal perspective shaped by emotion. Those stories could be debated, they could be challenged, they could be reframed. But this is different. This story didn't come from Meghan or from critics. It came from someone who has lived inside the monarchy longer than Meghan has been an adult. Someone who has no incentive to sensationalize because she has already survived the worst that the press can do. Someone who has seen high society at its most glamorous and most corrupt. The public doesn't have to believe Fergie, they only have to believe that she could know, and that possibility alone changes everything. Because she wasn't describing scandal. She was describing access, and access is the real currency of royalty. The idea that Meghan may have been positioning herself in elite circles long before meeting Harry doesn't make her a villain. It makes her calculating, and the public responds much more harshly to calculated ambition than to open ambition, especially when the final result is a royal title. This is why the outrage isn't loud, it's quiet, which is always more dangerous. Quiet outrage lasts. Before we go further, we want to take a moment and speak directly to you, the person watching this. We're a small channel, building this space slowly and independently, without sponsorships, without backing, and without a team behind us. Every script, every edit, every upload is made by hand because we genuinely care about telling these stories with clarity, nuance, and honesty. And we want to keep doing it, but we need your help to grow. Our next goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, not just for the milestone, but because it unlocks the tools we need to improve. Better production, better research systems, and more time to create content that respects your intelligence and attention. If you've been here a while, or even if this is your first time watching and you feel the care in how we tell these stories, we're asking humbly, please subscribe. It takes less than a second, but it makes a real difference for us. We don't want to just report royal gossip, we want to understand it, analyze it, and tell it in a way that feels grounded and meaningful. And if you're here, it means you value that too. So thank you truly for being part of this with us. This moment is not just about Meghan or Fergie or Andrew, it's about the way stories inside the royal ecosystem move, slowly, silently, and with intention. When information surfaces from someone who has lived through every stage of royal acceptance and exile, it means the tides are shifting, and shifts in royal tide are never accidental. Meghan is facing something she has avoided since the beginning, a narrative she cannot control. Not because she lacks influence, but because the voice speaking now comes from inside the institution, not outside of it. The palace doesn't need to respond. The press doesn't need to amplify. The implication will do the work on its own, over time, quietly reshaping perception. Meanwhile, Harry stands in the middle, watching the institution he left begin to move without him, and watching the woman he chose face the kind of scrutiny that can't be answered in interviews or documentaries. This is where the emotional story becomes structural, and once the monarchy shifts into structural mode, it rarely shifts back. So, we continue. Not because the drama is loud, but because the silence around it means the story is still developing. And something else will surface. Something always does. This is Hollywood Daily Reports, and we'll be here when the next layer breaks.